pace with control of this race. Here comes a run from Davey Hazard. He blocks the 10. Not going to be enough. Ryan Pace is going to win at Talladega.
Trying to hold off Wilson. He's done a good job so far. Wilson, one last desperate attempt to the bottom. He won't get there. Nick Curry wins at Bristol.
Coming out turn number 2, coming down the back straightaway here. Looks like he's in a class of his own right now.
Merzlak, one final time, get around the 55, big time send.
He hits the wall, he hits it, he gets the lead, but can he hang on to it? Oh my goodness, he made it to the line!
Big push down the backstretch is going to give him a good run through the corners.
So a little bit
follow from the 1.
A little bit of contact there for second, but coming to the line, Toby Roberson's going to take home the checkered flag and victory here from the new Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Before I wrap things up here in this segment, your thoughts on the type of race we're going to see tonight? And I would have to agree.
Hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's presentation, the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series here from Daytona International Speedway. I am your host, Joseph Weaver. Joining me tonight in the booth, we got the one and only Dewey Schramm.
Hello, hello.
Dewey, we're going for 70 laps tonight around Daytona. Going to be a fun season opener here with the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series. Coming at you live on Thursday nights here on JTN for the remainder of the season. What are you looking for tonight to get started with these drivers?
The thing I'm looking forward to the most is to see how Tyler Mallon in that 18 car starts out his campaign to repeat as champion. We saw how dominant he was last year, winning, 18-something races, about half the season last year. So I'm interested to see how he approaches tonight and if he can get himself kicking off in the right direction to try to repeat here. But he has a hungry pack of guys behind him. We got, I think, 19 strong here for tonight, all of whom capable of taking home the checkered flag first. So we'll have to see who ends up doing it first.
Absolutely. A strong season last year for Tyler Mallon. Going to be a lot of expectations out of that camp this year to start the season. Going to have a lot of some big shoes to fill this year. So going to be looking to see if he can get it done. A lot of other drivers, though, they want to come out here. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to do the same thing he was able to do last year and go out there, win a bunch of races in the championship.
And something also to mention about this upcoming season, not as many races as we had last season, only a 30-race slate here for these guys in the Cup Series. So if you fall back early, you're not going to have as much time to recover and get yourself back towards the front in points as these guys did last year. So the pressure is even higher than before to maintain those consistent top results.
Absolutely going to be seeing these drivers trying to push hard from the beginning. We saw last year maybe a couple times these drivers had those drop races. They knew they could kind of lag back. They have a couple races circled where they can kind of mess up, maybe not push it as hard, but 30 races, a lot of talent this year. Going to be a lot of good racing from the start here.
And I think we actually have a couple more than 19 guys here for tonight. A couple more that didn't show up on the practice chart. Of course, Ricky J, runner-up in points to Tyler Mallon last year, back in the 93. Mac Daddy's back in the 28. All the old faces, Silver Bullet, Terry Scott, Steve Grant, Monty Keller, all those guys are back and hungry for more. And we got some new faces here tonight as well. Zach Rogers, who showed up at about the middle of last year, he's back in the 5. We've got Liam Tingley, I believe, making his series debut tonight in the 25, as well as Joshua Clements in the 92. So some old faces that have been around the block and have seen a lot here in the BSR Cup Series, and some new faces trying to make themselves known. And how will they all mix and match here tonight on the high banks of Daytona?
That is a great question. As you see at the top of your screen, a couple of qualifying times starting to roll in. We're About to wrap up qualifying here, the first chance to really show what you got against the other drivers this year. It's like DJ Champ taking the lead as it stands right now. Usually pretty good at these super speedways in the qualifying.
It looks like he will be our pole sitter here for tonight, as that will do it for qualifying. Weaver, why don't you take us through our starting lineup here for tonight's season opener?
With pleasure, Dewey. No, I got it, Dewey. Don't worry. Like you said, starting on pole, set a time of 47.061. It's going to be the 91 car of BSR DJ Champ. Starting outside row 1, we have the 93 of BSR Ricky J. Row 2 is the 68 of BSR Brian Voiles and the 033 of Jeff Goodpasture. Row 3 is the 4 of BSR Silver Bullet and the 5 of Zach Rogers. Row 4 is the 18 of Tyler Mallon and the 011 of Steve Grant. Row 5 is the 28 of BSR Mac Daddy and the 095 of Wiley King. Row 6 is the 029 of BSR Kilojoules and the 66 of BSR Terry Scott. Row 7 is the 86 of BSR Miller and the 114 of BSR Eli 114. Row 8 is the 144 of BSR Magoo and the 60 of Richard Hadler. Row 9 is the 33 of BSR Jimmy Dale and the 25 of Liam Tingley. Row 10 is the 92 of Joshua Clements and the 028 of BSR Monty Keller. Row 11 is the 49 of BSR Brain Fade and the 103 of BSR Nelly.
At 22 strong for tonight's race, and Nelly starting shotgun on the field, a former winner here at Daytona in the BSR Cup Series. I'm sure he would love to make it 2 wins here at the track in the series, and we got 70 laps to see if he can get himself up there, or if any of those 21 in front of him can take it home instead. But it is going to be interesting, and I'm not surprised to see about half the field not take a time here for qualifying. I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to want to lay in the back to start off the night and try to avoid any potential early incident. But I mean, Weaver, obviously we have a lot of experience running these types of events. How do you usually approach these plate races in terms of the start?
Well, I was also in the thinking of I usually didn't qualify much. It all really depends on who I'm running with. I think with a group of guys like this, there's a lot of very trustworthy drivers here. Not too worried about a big wreck early, so I might qualify here. But wherever you find yourself at, I think kind of just riding around and getting a feel for the field early is the move in these races, whether it's at the front or at the back or in the middle, just trying to see where everybody's at and what the kind of energy the pack is going to have for that night's race.
I definitely am in the same boat. I've very rarely, if ever, qualify at the plate race. I always like to lay in the back and hope everybody in front of me can just kind of take each other out at the end, and I could just maneuver my way through and finish well or take the win. But we'll see who decides to do that and who decides to stay up at the front throughout the night. But it should be a fascinating race regardless of which camp these guys are in.
A little accident in the back of this pack we got going around here now, getting some good early draft practice here before we go to the race. Got to see who you can draft with, who you can push, who you can get a push from.
Something interesting to note about drafting practice too is obviously some guys might not have as strong of a connection as other drivers into the server, so maybe you want to find out in this part of the happy hour who has a stable connection and who doesn't. So maybe if a guy is warping a little bit, maybe that's a guy you don't want to draft with throughout the night and potentially make a mistake with. So if there's anything you want to find out now like that, or how much you can push it coming into pit road on a green flag stop, now's your time to do it, because in about a minute and a half, time's out and you can't do it anymore. I got a group of them wrecking into pit road. Get the jitters out of the way now before we kick this thing off.
Yeah, I always like to go out there and wreck them up a little bit in the happy hour, especially right before the clock was up.
Yeah, and wreck your car while you can still reset it clean again, because once that green flag drops, you are out of luck. And that's going to wrap it up here for happy hour in just a couple of ticks. And we're just about ready to go green here. I am very excited. It's been a while since you've done one of these, and since I've done one of these. I'm pumped to be back. I'm sure you're pumped to be back, Weaver. I just want this little 30-second thing to go away right now. We can get this thing going.
Yeah, had a good little off season myself there. I stayed away from some of the special events that I normally do, but I think it was good to get a little rest and relaxation there. Then I get to just stay home because everybody likes to come to Daytona early in the season. I don't know why.
And what could possibly be going on at Daytona in the middle of February every year?
Drivers, to your cars.
Looks like everybody's getting the call now to wheel those cars out to the starting grid. Going to be waiting for those famous words here.
Drivers, start your engine!
And there you hear it, as well as the cars firing up as these drivers are ready to go for 70 laps here tonight at Daytona International Speedway for Race 1, the Bomb Squad Cup Series. A long season awaits all these drivers. This is going to be their first chance to come out here, show what they got, show the improvements they made in the off season. Get ready to fight it out for a title.
Yeah, everybody starting off on a clean slate here at Daytona. Maybe if you're a guy that didn't quite end last season the way you wanted to, well, here's a fresh start here in Daytona Beach, Florida, to get yourself off in the right direction to start off this year. No points to worry about yet, no playoffs to worry about. All you have to do is just run 70 laps and hope you come out on top. And for 22 guys in the field here for tonight, winning, of course, the end goal in a quest to get yourself to the big goal, of course, of winning that season end championship. Of course, last year that was won by Tyler Mallon, who dominated pretty much every part of the season you could dominate. And everybody now trying to be the one to come out on top this year. Who is it going to be? Well, we'll find out here in just a moment.
Who do you think it's going to be, Dewey?
Ooh,
Make a
man.
prediction.
I think Tyler has a great shot, of course, to repeat as champion. But if we're talking the win here for tonight, I think my eye is going to be on Mac Daddy in the 28 machine, rolling off in 9th place. Always strong here at these plate races. He's my one to watch here for tonight's race.
Now we watch that pace car make the sharp turn onto pit road, and DJ Champ gets ready to take the green flag as he takes us underway here tonight. 70 laps to go.
Pretty even start for both lines as we get ourselves down into turn 1 for the first time here this race and this season. Jeff Goodpaster in the 33 giving a good push to Ricky J in the 93, and the 91 will move up to the high side to pick up the draft of Ricky J, and DJ Champ will lead him off the 2 down the backstretch.
Outside line getting a good push there through 1 and 2. I believe DJ Champ saw that, and that 91 car chooses to jump up to that high side, wants to lead that line, got a good pusher behind him there.
'91 will hold steady out of turn 4. It looks like he will lead our first lap of the year in that 91 Mopar Dodge. Got a run from the inside. Brian Voiles leading it in the 68 with Silver Bullet in tow in the 4 machine. Both of whom trying to steal the season opening race here for tonight. Of course, still quite a ways to go, but never a bad thing to lead up early and build up your confidence.
Notice there at the front, the 2 Voiles trucking vehicles driven by Ricky J and Brian Voiles himself making a start here tonight. They changed it up this year, looking real snazzy. Also changed up between the cars. We could distinguish them a little better here tonight.
Yeah, we have some snazzy new looks. I think Wiley King back in the 95 debuting a new scheme this year as well. And of course, our new entrants, Jeff Goodpaster, Liam Tingley, and Joshua Clemens. So some snazzy new looks here tonight at Daytona. And a very colorful field overall. A lot of good paints running out there tonight.
Famous footballer out there once said, you got to look good to play good, and I think a lot of people took that to heart this year.
It definitely did. I also like going through the field and just seeing even the different types of car models that each manufacturer has. You see the Voiles trucking Fords up at the front. Got the next-gen Mustang templates rocking tonight, and you roll back. You got Mac Daddy and the older Cup Series Fusion. You go back to Jimmy Dale in the 33, and you've got an even older Fusion. So I love to see all the different originality and uniqueness that these guys bring when it comes to even the models too. A lot of good representation here out tonight.
Absolutely, a lot of different vehicles for our drivers to choose from here in this series. A lot of different vehicles for you to choose from if you want to come on over to Bomb Squad and give them a shot. Check out their website, link down in the description, I'm sure. Also check them out, Bomb Squad Racing League on Facebook. Always a good time, good races here as we see that high side still led by the 91 of DJ Champ, leading these laps, logging these early laps, everybody getting a good feel. High side starting to pull away a little bit from the inside though.
Yeah, that high group definitely seems to be the preferred one as you get ourselves now through lap number 5. It looks like the top 4 or 5 now, single file, up there with no threat whatsoever. So it might not be a bad thing for these guys to just try to find themselves a groove and just get these laps ticking away and get yourselves into a rhythm before you really start to get yourself into the action. But of course, just as I say that, Zach Rogers makes a move down to the inside in that 5 machine and now pulls even with Jeff Goodpaster in the 33. But Zach's got no help, so I'm not really sure what this will net him for now.
Yeah, trying to drag up that inside line a little here. If there's any driver that's not going to be complacent running in line, it's going to be that 5 car, Zach Rogers. Like you said, making the early choice to duck out of the dominant line, get the lead on the inside line, try and get something going here.
And Zach will file himself back up to the top, which gives the inside lead back to Brian Voiles, who just won last night in the season opening truck series race here at Daytona. So that 68 trying to sweep the weekend here to kick off the season. Got a great truck last night, obviously. Looks like he's a strong Mustang so far tonight. I'd say he's got a pretty good chance to do it.
I'd say so too, Brian. Always somebody you got to keep an eye on when you come to these super speedways. We don't see him. He doesn't run a full schedule, but when he comes out, he's competitive, especially when we get to these 2.5 mile super speedways here at Daytona and Talladega.
They're still trying to get themselves back towards the front, down the back, but with just the sheer amount of cars that are up on the top, very difficult for them to do that right now. I think a couple of guys either ahead of them or behind them are going to need to jump down to the inside to even out these lines and make it more formidable. Still all DJ Champ as we complete lap number 7. Top 6 has remained pretty much unchanged from the drop of the green, just everybody staying in line, working together and getting these laps under their belts.
And that is a lot of what this racing comes down to, the drafting, who has the numbers. And like you said, that outside line has the numbers by and large right now. Nothing I'd really be too worried about, though, if I'm on that inside line right now.
Yeah, still very, very early in the running. And of course, we're going to have likely green flag pit stops that will jostle these guys around for who maybe decides to go 2, maybe some guys take 4, maybe some guys go fuel only, or maybe somebody gets a speeding penalty. So even though it's shaping up to be an outside dominated race right now, definitely not indicative per se of what we might see throughout the race here tonight. Looks like BSR Eli back in the 114 lost the draft at some point in this opening 8 laps, so he's running back there on his own. So of course he'll have to hope for a caution to try to get himself back up with the field. But for right now, just hanging out on his own there down the back stretch. But if this runs green too much longer, he may end up going a lap down.
Ooh, we got one in the wall.
That's Magoo.
Maybe that's Magoo.
144 gets it out of the wall as they try to finagle their way around him down the backstretch, as one car briefly below the yellow line trying to do it. Looks like they're all situated here, but KJ got a bit trapped there behind Magoo as well and dropped a couple of positions, but again, still very, very early, so nothing to be too concerned about right now.
I believe that all started with a little bit of contact there from inside line leader Brian Voiles going down into turn 1. A little bit of a coming together with Magoo, or sorry, it was the second car in line. That is the 4 of Silver Bullet. Had the contact with Magoo, put him in the wall a little bit, but no harm, no foul. Everybody made it through, still in the pack.
Looks like it briefly split the pack into 2. Looks like the gap between Terry Scott and Silver Bullet is already going to close, but it did split these guys up for just a moment. And we'll see if the inside line, as a result, can try to gain some momentum here and pull back even with the top groove, but they don't have the numbers to do it quite yet.
It looks like a good bit of people choosing to stay with that outside line here.
That's the one thing, to me at least, about always running up top, is if an incident like that happens in front of you and you're up on the high side, it becomes much more difficult to avoid it if you're up there, especially if you have cars beneath you than if you're on the bottom, where you could potentially go down onto the apron, or if you're on the back, that huge paved section back there. But obviously the way to go is the high side right now, but personally I've always been a bit weary of running up there for long periods of time. We'll see what these guys decide to do.
'28 BSR Mac Daddy now second inside line. Oh, we got a little.
I think that was Wiley King, got a bit swirly in the 95 there in the middle of turn 2, but he gets it all straightened up.
Looked like the 86 BSR Miller was giving him a good push through the corner there, but got a little loose now. A lot of that inside line choosing to go up, fill that gap that was left after that little mix-up.
And that puts just about everybody in the field up top except for these 3 or 4 at the back. So I'm sure this will probably be the way it goes for quite some time. Looks like Liam Tingley in the 25 has started to fall back of the draft, so like Eli, may need a caution soon to get himself back up with this main group.
Field starting to go single file up in the top now. A couple cars trying to still get something going on that inside line. Going to be quickly approaching fuel stops here soon. Not sure if we'll see too many people taking tires this first time around, but definitely going to have to come in and get at least 2 cans.
Yeah, we're looking at around lap 17, lap 18 as the higher end of when these guys decide to come in. So with it already being lap 15, my guess would be that most of these guys decide to come in all together as one big group, but hopefully if that's the case, nobody comes in a bit too hot and runs into the back of somebody, which of course can always be a concern or in the back of these guys' heads as they go to do these. As Mac Daddy and Wiley King, they jump down to the bottom. So interestingly, as we're approaching pit stops is when the field starts to double back up again, at least around mid-pack. And we're actually 3 wide right now in the middle of 1 and 2, just briefly. So these guys are going to have to reform pretty quick if they want to get themselves down pit road in a coherent group.
Yeah, I think some of that you're seeing now with these guys jumping down to that inside line is getting ready for pit stops. They want to have their spot on that inside line. Don't want anybody inside of you when you're trying to go down on pit road.
Yeah, never ideal there. Looks like they're all going to stay out at least one more time around, but I don't think they can really stay out much longer than that. Still been the DJ Champ Show up at the front, has led every single lap so far after winning the pole for tonight. A perfect race so far from the 91. We'll see if he can keep the lead after this incoming round of stops, but so far a great start to the year for that 91 machine.
There ever come a point when you're leading a super speedway race like that and you get feel a little too comfortable, things are going too well for this type of racing?
That's definitely gone through my head before, but I've also tried not to worry myself too much with it and just see where all the dominoes fall at the end of the day. And at least when you're up at the front, you can only control what's behind you. To an extent, you can't really control what's in front of you, which I guess in that case is nothing. But I would definitely rather be up towards the front in a calm group like this than towards the rear. As I think we're going to get pit stops this time, and you see the field going by the 114 of Eli, so potentially an opportunity for him to try to pit with these guys and stay with the pack. As Mac Daddy's going to come on in, but not very many people went with him, and oh no!
Hard
That's
hit
Nelly.
for Nelly.
Oh. I'm not sure if that's going to be a caution or not, but it's a big hit to the inside wall regardless for that 103.
It looks like we're staying green right now, as you're going to see it on your screens. Look like Nelly just came in a little too hot on pit entry here. Got loose and
Yeah,
no
along for the
saving
ride
that
at
one.
that point.
Like Miller also maybe a little contact there, was a little sideways getting down pit road.
And here comes the main pack of guys down onto pit road. Got a contact towards the back. Clemens in the 92 has gotten into, I believe that's Monty Keller in the 028. And he'll take a bit of a spin through the grass there. Looks like everybody else is down A-OK, barring any potential speeding penalties.
I'd say all things considered not bad.
Tough break, though, for Monty Keller and as well for Nelly, who are definitely going to be behind the 8 ball very early on in the race.
First of those cars that pitted first time around, BSR Mac Daddy just now going to be crossing the start-finish line. He's going to hope to catch these guys coming off pit road here. Going to definitely get the back end of that line. See just how far up that group he can get here.
Going to have our first lead change of the night as well. Looks like both Ricky J and Tyler Mallon were able to leapfrog DJ Champ off of pit road. So put that 93 up into the lead for the first time tonight. Our runner-up last year in points, trying to make it the top spot in points this year. Not a bad way to do it by winning at Daytona to start the year off. And looks like a very spread out group here after the pit stops, but I'm sure in due time they will start to bunch back together.
Top two right now, top two for much of last season. A lot of battles between these two, Ricky J and Tyler Mallon. Now going to start battling out again here early at Daytona.
Got a group behind them. KJ in the 029, who looks like is a big winner off these stops. I think he was running about 14th or so prior to those stops, and now finds himself up in 4th, leading this second group with him, Mac Daddy, and Brian Voyle. So I'm sure these guys, once they form up, should catch those top three pretty quick.
Yeah, like you said, KJ making up a lot of spots there. Now has a good pusher in his buddy Mac D behind him. Those two going to do some work here today on the track. Going to do some work in the pits after this race, I'm sure.
And there they go to the inside of our top three. KJ trying to make it the third different leader of the race. And with that big run, that's going to be aided here by Brian Voiles and Steve Grant. It looks like we are indeed going to have our third leader of the night. The 029 to the inside, and even now with the 93 of Ricky J.
Oh, Mac Daddy washes up in the middle of the corner there. Gets close to the outside line leaders, but barring contact, everybody makes it out okay. That could have been bad.
Yeah, great job by all those guys of keeping it together, as that would have taken out pretty much the entire top 8 here very early in the race, as KJ led the lap to become our third leader of the night, but Ricky J now with a big run with Mallon in the 18 in tow, trying to take that lead back once again. Looks like the top two really found something there down the backstretch as they just pulled away from everybody.
A little bit of tandem going on as that outside line got a little bit of extra help there.
So Ricky J back to the point in the middle of turns 1 and 2. About 1/3 of the way through the race here so far. So still plenty of time for things to happen and things to unfold. But I'm sure all these guys up here throughout what we have run so far tonight have got to be feeling pretty good about themselves and how their cars are running.
Dewey, speaking of unfolding, hope everybody at home had a good holidays. I hope everybody was able to unfold something that they wanted they might have found under the tree. And if you didn't, maybe, you know, you still got time. You got some gift cards, some money burning a hole in your pocket. Go unfold you a JTN logo tee, available only on the JTN merch store.
Highly recommend.
And if a tee ain't for you, you know, we got everything. We got mugs, we got hoodies, we got your Fake Racers podcast apparel on there too. We got stickers. Whatever you might want, we probably got it there. Give it a look.
The mugs definitely sound interesting. How about a good old JTN Cup of Joe to start off every one of your mornings?
So the Joe Cup of Joe right there.
Yeah. Cup of JoeTowNetwork. As Tyler Mountain in the 18, now up to the point here for the first time tonight, found a way underneath the 93 of Ricky J. And while he moves back up to the top, that's going to allow the 91 of DJ Champ to move to the bottom and try to take this lead back once again. Bit of a gap, though, between him and Boyles right now, but that will close up here in a moment. So a
Also,
bit more...
don't
Go ahead.
don't forget, if you're liking what you're watching here tonight, we're gonna keep bringing you the BSR Cup Series every Thursday night that they're live here. Starting with January 11th, we're going to Rockingham Speedway, same time, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. January 18th, we're coming live to you again from Richmond Raceway, again BSR Cup Series at 9:05 p.m. Eastern. And on January 25th, we're heading out to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Same time, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, all live, only on JTN.
4 vastly different racetracks to kick off this season, too, so it's going to test all of these drivers' abilities and skill sets to try to see who can come out on top of each of those 4 upcoming events. So it should be a very, very exciting start here to what should be a very, very exciting season overall.
Absolutely, and speaking of excitement, those two on that inside line switched it around. Mac Daddy now to the point, getting the push, and he's going to try and see if he can muscle his way up to the front now side by side for second place.
Yeah, the 18 and the 93 have done a really nice job of keeping themselves up there since taking the lead over after those pit stops, but the 28 and the 029 have thrown just about everything they've gotten at them so far, and it's got a good chance of working right here in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, we've seen that 18 and 93 battle out for a lot of races last year. Probably going to see them battle out a lot this year as well, but seeing them work together real well, like you said, doing a good job holding the lead up there on that high side right now. They know it's not the time to get too racy. There's still a lot of laps here before we can really turn that knob all the way up.
Yeah, still about 5-6 laps short of halfway, so time is still on these guys' side for right now, but the same cannot be said probably about 20 minutes from now. So I guess we'll see how they decide to approach this next little sector of the race, but and up the hill goes Mac Daddy. Got maybe a bad push or too big of a push there from KJ, but a nice job again of all these drivers to keep it pointed in the right direction and to not wad them all up there. Another close call here in the early going. Looks like all of them pretty much are going to keep running where they were, too. Mac Daddy still leading the bottom, and as big as that could have been, it looks like nobody really got affected by it in the end. Just bunch right back up and do it again. Something to keep an eye on as well. A bit further back, we've got a group of about 5 cars right now that are just now going to cross the start-finish line, led by Silver Bullet and Zach Rogers. They're running about half a second to 0.6 faster a lap than the tail end of this lead pack is with BSR Miller in the 86. So it's possible that this group of 5 could catch this main pack before our next round of pit stops.
Yeah, I definitely think that is possible because if you look at that second pack, they are running nice single file, tidy, just giving a good push every now and then. Could be bringing it down to the yellow line in the corners, might be able to make a little more time that way, but still running fast out here, running a good line. And that front group, they're just racing side by side, so that's going to be losing them time.
And honestly, if it sets up like this towards the end of the race as well, it may be beneficial for this group to run by themselves again as well. Of course, if you're running single file by themselves and there's a wreck ahead of you, you have plenty of time to maneuver your way through it and gain some valuable track position that way.
It's a real good example of when these you're racing these races like this as super speedway. You might be down, but you're never out of it.
No, sir. There's always a chance at these restrictor plate racetracks. As Malin will lead off another lap here in the 18. 32 down, 38 remaining. So again, just shy of the halfway point. Probably about 6 or 7 laps short of when we're going to see our next round of pit stops. And we'll see if any more jostling for position occurs under those.
Inside line led by that 28 car. Mac Daddy still trying to do some work here, still trying to muscle their way up to the lead. It's 4v4 here on the inside. Or sorry, 4v5, 5 on the outside line, 4 on the inside. And that's just enough to swing the favors into that outside line's hands as they can continue to hold this lead. Top 2 there doing a good job drafting.
Does appear as well that these guys on the inside aren't always running right up along that yellow line. I think there might be a little bit more grip just half a lane above. And you're starting to see that on corner exit there with Mac Daddy and KJ trying to get every bite they can out of their race cars to get themselves back even with the top of the outside.
Yeah, might have to come to a point where you got to start forcing that top lane up. They're giving it to you on the straightaways. Nothing saying you got to go all the way down to the bottom. If you're in the middle, you can just hold that middle line.
It almost looks like now that the 28 and the 029 are almost diamonding the corner, as Steve Grant in the 11 is going to pull out of line and down to the bottom. And this might be a golden opportunity for him to throw his name into the leader ring for the first time tonight.
Be a drag race to the line. He's going to get a little help here from Mac Daddy. Don't know if it's going to be enough to get it by this time, but that does give the numbers to the inside line here.
Really the first time the insides had the numbers advantage all race. As we hit the halfway point that time by, 35 down, 35 to go. So now that we've hit halfway, that aggression meter is slowly but surely going to be turned a little bit further up throughout the end of this race. And we'll see what ends up giving first.
Going to be interesting, like you said, hitting halfway here, but still have 2 pit stops at least left to make it in this race to make it to the end on fuel. Looks like that second pack is starting to get just a little bit closer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're gaining as much per lap as they were earlier in this run, but they are still making progress. I think they've gained about a second or so in the last 4 or 5 laps. So they might not catch them before the pit stops, but maybe they'll be able to get there after they're complete.
To keep note, a couple of these cars in this front line are going to have to pit early, like Mac Daddy with a big turn down the pit road there. It gets a little loose, but
Kate threw it down there, but he made it.
he made it on pit road a little quick on entry. They have to make sure they don't give him a black flag for that.
And he's joined by BSR Miller. Looks like Liam Tingley and Brainfade, who are running back on their own, also decided to come in that time. Back up at the front, the remaining 7 cars in this pack, I would think, are going to come all in together as we saw the first time around. We will see, though.
DJ Champ still on that outside line. Might be thinking about keeping it out one more lap here.
And he does. Brian
got
Boyles
help.
as well.
Oh,
Man, Steve Grant just Tokyo drifted it onto pit road, and I don't know how he kept his car out of the back of KJ, but I'm sure they're both thankful he did. That was close.
Great driving, getting down on pit road there from Steve Grant. Oh no, Silver Bullet goes around getting into a stall.
And it looks like that held up Jeff Goodpaster in the 033. He gets it going, so it's not going to affect Tyler Mallon or Zach Rogers, but Silver Bullet's going to have to back it up a bit to get out of his pit stall as well, so not what that 4 car needed, and looks like it's going to leave Goodpaster out of this second group as well. And here come McDaddy and Miller, who pitted the last time around, so we'll see where those two shake themselves out. But the field looks to be way more spread out this time than on the first round of pit stops. So,
Yeah, I believe a couple of those incidents there might have broken up the field a little more. A little swap here for the first spot as Ricky J beat out Tyler Mallon, but Brain Fade working his way through them all. He's going to get up there and get ahead of Ricky J here.
yeah, it looks like the 49 is going to unlap himself here out of turn 4. Ricky J, the leader, Tyler Mallon second, and Magoo, I believe, is now third. Great run so far tonight for that 144. As there's the 91 coming off of pit road, saw him stay out that extra lap.
Losing quite a lot of time is that 91 of DJ Champ. He's going to have to find a partner here and get to drafting if he wants to catch up to these leaders.
And looks like the leaders go by the 68 of Brian Voiles, who actually was leading just now. Looks like he might be saving fuel to make it back to his stall here. And that will give the 18 the lead, as these three looks like will put Nelly and Brainfade both one lap down here as they complete lap 40.
Brian Voiles did pit. He stayed out one extra lap with DJ Champ, but he was able to beat DJ off by quite a bit, so he's going to be able to stay up here with this lead pack, I'd assume, as long as he can find a friend.
I don't think he'll be able to be in this top 5, but he's got a group behind him led by Zach Rogers, KJ, and BSR Miller, and he should be able to latch on to the tail end of this group. Looks like Steve Grant, Mac Daddy are also in there. Liam Tingley trying to latch on one of those lapped vehicles in the 25. This pack of 5 here out of 4 should become a pack of 6 here as they come up on that 68.
Top 3 all in a group together in a group of their own as well with 2 lap cars. That is the 18 of Tyler Mallon at the point, Ricky J in second, and BSR Magoo in third. Got Nelly and Brain Fade helping them in their group of 5 as they try to pull away, working single file right now.
And it looks like Voiles now, well, can he stay in the back of him? Let's see.
He's got him.
Looks like he'll be alright. So a pack of 5, a pack of 6, and looks like a group of 2. Jimmy Dale and DJ Champ. And that 91 lost a lot of time. He came in first and now finds himself in 11th with only 1 car in the same zip code as him. Looks like the lead group's going to put Monty Keller in the 028 a lap down, so got 3 cars now 1 lap down in this main pack.
And Monty Keller going to hook onto the back of this group, give them an extra number there. And not the day that the 028 was hoping for. We saw him have that early spin on getting on pit road in the first round of pit stops, so he's hoping for a yellow.
Still plenty of time for one. Still 28 to go or 27 to go rather at the line. So still plenty of time for some crazy stuff to happen. I'm sure those 3 up at the front would rather that not happen though. Been a very tame race overall up to this point, but again, with us being past halfway and there being a solid group at the front. I'm sure in due time that will start to change.
Last time by the line, number 5, Zach Rogers, leading that second group, was 3.82 seconds off our leader, Tyler Mallon. I'm going to give you the times as they go by next time. See if they're catching or losing this lead group. Gotta think they might be losing, though, with the way they're running nice single file and tight up here at the front. They got a good amount of numbers. You're looking pretty good if you're one of these top 3 right now.
Yeah, the second group was able to slowly chip away from the gap because that top group was running side by side. However, with this top 6 all running single file just as that second group of 6 is, really not an opportunity right now to make up that lost ground. So KJ is leading this group in 4th, but I'm sure he'd love to be up there mixing it up for the lead. But it might take a caution for that to happen at this point.
Yeah, last time by at a 4.28, so a little less than a second loss there in that lap. A little bit of a switch at the front. Zach Rogers going to second in that line. KJ now leading it, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't expect this first group to get too racy with only 3 lead lap cars in it, but you never know.
Crazier things have happened. Definitely a non-zero chance. Got a little pack of 3 further back. Looks like Joshua Clements, Wiley King, and Silver Bullet just riding it out amongst themselves, hoping for a yellow. They're about to come up on Jeff Goodpaster in the 033, so looks like I have another pack of 4 here. But they're going to need a yellow to get back in this as well. Oh my God!
Oh,
Ricky
big
J
wreck.
big crash into the wall. The
Oh,
leaders
no.
have wrecked. Ricky J is upside down. Magoo is hard in the wall. Tyler Mallon escapes with no damage. Everybody else in this main group, including Nelly, is junked. And just like that, after a race that was tame as anything, we've got one of the biggest wrecks you might see all season.
2 cars up at the catch fence. Ricky J, BSR Magoo, that's second and third place. Now going to be headed to the junkyard after that wreck. What happened there?
Looks like the 93 just like randomly turned down to the bottom. I'm not sure what that was, a push or what, but that was a huge hit.
Yeah, it looks like maybe just some tight racing there, maybe a little push from Magoo as they went down into the corner. That's when that car is the most unsettled, so.
Gosh, what a hit that was for the 93.
Gosh.
Up and into the fence.
Going on board here. This one's going to hurt.
And that really stinks for Magoo. He's having a phenomenal run up until this point, up in that 3rd spot. And so there is going to be definitely a lot of damage to that car as he went up and over as well.
Yeah, just a tough break for that top 3 in general. They really had this one set. All I had to do, make one more pit stop. They were pulling away from the rest of the field, but now 2 out of 3 of them won't be making it too much further in this race, and it's opened up the door for everybody else.
Yeah, what's bad news for them is pretty much good news for everybody else, is all of those little mini packs of cars are going to come right back together, as one of them just went around coming into pit road It's like the 95 might have gotten into the 92 there of Joshua Clements. But all of these guys are going to restart together. And I believe with it a restart being only 19 laps to go, that's going to put the entire field right on the cusp of being able to make it to the end without having to pit again.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I think we're going to see a little bit of fuel saving here. I don't think you can run it flat out and be good to the end here. So this is going to be interesting on fuel strategy at the end of this race.
I might end up seeing perhaps some fuel saving or maybe some guys running out. But again, just what a terrible break though for second and third, who again had this thing pretty much locked up there, and those cars are just destroyed.
Did not see the whole field go down. Maybe waiting until the last chance, get as much fuel in it as late as you can. I think that's going to be the move here on this pit stop. So see who comes in, see if anybody elects to stay out. They know they might want to pit again, so they might just get the track position here.
Yeah, definitely a common maneuver there to give up a little bit of track position towards the end of these races to just get just every last drop of fuel you can into that machine. Hope you can last just a bit longer than your competitors. As we'll see if the pace lights go off here, how many more laps we'll have under pace. But it looks like a lot of these guys are going to come in this time regardless of that. I'm sure Magoo, Nelly, and Ricky J are going to have quite the extended stop. I can't believe those cars are even moving still.
Yeah, I agree with you there, dude. That was a very gnarly wreck to drive away from for any of those guys, let alone all of them.
And at this point, we'll see if any of them elect to retire from the event, or if some of them try to get as much of that damage fixed as possible and maybe try to pick up a couple of extra spots if another wreck were to occur. All three of them look to be doing that, though. None of them have called it quits yet tonight. But man, looks like that's going to give the lead after all of that to BSR Miller in the 86, as I think Tyler might have lost a couple spots on pit road. AJ looks to be second. Steve Grant, Zach Rogers, and Mallon now the top five. That wreck took out the guy that won the second most races last year, and barely didn't include the guy that won the most. So this will definitely spice things up, as again, everybody now will be bunched right back up together. No more pods, no more hoping for cautions. It's going to be everybody all packed up with about 18 laps to go in this race, and we'll have to see who ends up surviving the dogfight and coming out on top.
Couple drivers, most drivers are letting them come down here one last time. Like you said, get every last drop of fuel that you can in there. The lights on the pace car go off, going to be going green next time. Bye.
Yeah, we'll see where all these guys end up shaking out. It's pretty much everybody is on pit road trying to top off here. As BSR Miller gave up the lead to do that. Looks like it'll be Brian Voiles leading us to the restart, with DJ Champ, who led about the first 20 or so laps of this race, now back up in P2. Monty Keller, I believe, is a lapped car. So KJ, Zach Rogers, and Mallon looks like a round out the top five here for what will be the first restart of the day, but more importantly, will it be the last one of the day?
Shout out to everybody in chat. Tommy directing traffic for the safety crews, letting them know to get the tarps. Greg Stenzoski giving a 10 for Ricky J in the aerial Olympics. He's going to, it's a silver lining in a race like this when you have a wreck like that. At least you got a 10 from the judges.
Yeah, definitely interested, of course, to see if the 68, by staying out here, will have enough fuel again, along with the 91 behind him. Brian Voiles, like we said earlier, trying to go back-to-back here after winning the Truck Series event last night. It'll lead us back to the green, though.
Green flag back out here at Daytona, lap 53 of 70. Be a short little sprint for these drivers to the finish here. Some going to be close on fuel. Well, yeah, everybody's going to be close on fuel. Some might still have to pit for sure, but I think they're all going to race like it's the last lap for the rest of this race.
Oh, absolutely. A fuel run of about 18 or 17, 18, 19 laps roughly, and an 18-lap sprint to the end. So you might see a couple of guys that are good to the end. You might see a couple of guys that run out coming to the line. You might see a couple that run out a lap before. Hopefully none of them do, but that's the risk you take, of course, in these plate races. And out of turn 4, it's going to be Zach Rogers leading the bottom with Tyler Mallon, and they will take the race lead away from Brian Voiles. So put that 5 car up to the point here for the first time tonight, and now is a pretty good time for him to do it.
Big run there from Zach Rogers, making a return to competition here at BSR. Ran a couple of races to get back in the field at the end of last season. Now I'm going to be going at it. I believe full-time is the goal for that 5 team, so going to be a good way to start if he can get it done here at Daytona. He's got a good pusher behind him in Mallon.
And look, I'm looking behind them at that 92 of Joshua Clements, I believe is on the lead lap here. Running in, I think, 4th right now. Not sure if he's ever run in BSR before, but if this is indeed his first ever start here, looking pretty good to potentially steal a win away, running up with these guys late in the going.
Outside line now has gained that number advantage back, and they're starting to pull away there at the front. Brian Voiles, DJ Champ, Monty Keller there 3rd in line, but is a lap down.
Yeah, we'll see what this top group decides to do. Of course, Monty Keller can be a beneficiary to those around him and help give pushes and whatnot, but maybe some guys up here decide, well, we don't want any lapped cars up at the front this late in the race, and maybe they try to shuffle them out before the night's over. But regardless, 2nd or 3rd rather up on that high side, and we'll see what factor he ends up playing as the rest of this race unfolds, and there's just 15 more laps to go.
KJ in that 029 hopped down from the outside line to the inside line, brought a couple friends a little further back with him, and starting to get some momentum going on that inside line. Back up side by side with 2nd here as they go through 3 and 4.
KJ in the 029 now finds himself leading that bottom side. Zach Rogers behind him in the 5. Looks like everybody from 1st to about 13th still up in this main group with a couple of lapped cars sprinkled in. So pretty much the entire field up there in contention with just 14 to go. So right now, this really is anybody's race still.
Yeah, a little hole left there in the top side. Let Zach Rogers hop up there. He's now 3rd in that outside line. Inside line still trying to get something going here. Still side by side with 2nd.
Brian Voiles doing a really nice job in that 68 of holding steady up on that top side. You saw Zach a couple laps ago, inch ahead for the lead, but the 68 and the 91 are doing a really nice job of trying to fend off every move they can, but the question remains, are those two going to be good on fuel, or are they going to be a bit short because they stayed out that extra lap right before the restart?
It is true. You also got to remember those two are the two that pit latest under green before this yellow flag stop. So I think they've been maybe trying to stretch it all night. It might be I have a couple tricks up their sleeve. See, going 3 wide, a little further back in the pack. Yeah, that's Clements in the middle here.
You got Mac Daddy beneath him. And actually, he'll just file in front of BSR Miller, but they were briefly 3 there. I doubt that's the last time we'll see 3 wide tonight. But again, still a lot of cars up in the mix here late in the going, but can any of them get by that 68 of Brian Voiles?
Just tuning in. You ain't missed much. Definitely ain't missed the most important part, and that's going to be the finish that's coming up here. Just over 10 laps. We've now 11 to go here as we cross the line. Oh, we got contact.
Towards the back. Wiley King and Silver Bullet slammed doors, but I think they just kept it straight.
Oh, they're still
They're
saving
still
it.
doing something. Yeah. Had a little contact with Brain Fade. Jimmy Dale had to take evasive action. That might drop some of those guys out of this main groove, but it's miraculous that nobody actually went around in that.
Yeah, a lot of hip checking there, a lot of door checking, but that really broke up the inside line, really broke up the pack in general here. We got 2 cars on the inside. KJ, Tyler Mallon going to be challenging on the inside. Outside still, Brian Voiles, DJ Champ, as the help is coming to both lines behind him.
And we hit 10 laps to go here at Daytona, as that little skirmish, despite it not being a caution, looks like it dropped Wiley King and Jimmy Dale out of this top group, as well as Brain Fade and potentially BSR Miller. So potentially 4 contenders here are going to need a yellow to get back in it. Back up towards the front, the 68 still holding strong up on that top side despite the charge that inside line keeps trying to mount.
The outside line just gets the numbers back first, and inside line kind of left to fight for the scraps, but they're organizing. They're getting there soon here. Big move from Mac Daddy getting in front of old buddy KJ there. They're going to be working hard on that inside line now. Brian Voiles sees that. He's going to go down and cover that inside line. First time he has abandoned the top side. Going to fight that battle against the draft on the inside. Got to try and work both lines here.
Quite the tall task.
That it is. You see, he hops back to the outside line there. So does KJ a little further back.
Out of all of that, Silver Bullet has somehow found himself all the way up in 3rd. I think he was like 10th or 12th 2 laps ago, but found the right groove at the right time, and just like that, that 4 car is right up in the thick of things.
Ooh.
As you see the lead pack go around. Ricky J and Magoo, of course, had that huge accident earlier in the race, taking them out of contention, just trying to run it out for points now.
Navigating lap traffic, a little tricky. One more car here in BSR Nelly to get by, and then it's going to be smooth sailing to the end for these guys.
And Nelly, the other car involved in that accident with Ricky J and Magoo. Outside line still has numbers. Just as Silver Bullet got up there, he's now by himself on the inside. As Voiles leads once again, just 7 laps remaining as KJ and Tyler Mallon are going to make it a run back down to the inside.
Now I'm going to jump back up to the high side here, leaving KJ all alone down there. He's got a little help from Silver Bullet a little further back, but it's just 2 against a lot right now.
Yeah, the numbers really haven't been in the favor of the outs or the inside line all night. Maybe a handful of laps all race have there been more cars on the inside than the outside, and that still holds true now, very late in the race, but I imagine here before this thing ends, we'll start to see this field double back up. Looks like everybody from 6th on back is kind of doubled up in a very loose way. But I think they're going to have to figure out a way quick to get themselves to line back up to Mac Daddy in the 28. Coming to just 5 laps to go.
Brian Voiles crosses the line this time. 5 laps to go. 5 fingers up from that flag man. 5 laps to a back-to-back Daytona victory for Brian Voiles, winning last night in the Truck Series. Trying to get it done here tonight in the Cup Series would be a great way to start the season for that team.
Yeah, well, Mac Daddy's in the 28. He's got something to say about it as he's gone back down to the bottom and he's taken KJ, Steve Grant, and Silver Bullet with him. So we might finally be starting to see the inside line have a numbers advantage as we make our way through 3 and 4. And now Brian Voiles in the 68 will abandon that high side and try to stop the run that Mac Daddy has. So Brian Voiles now is in a very precarious spot where he's got to do everything he can to fend off both grooves, and I'm not sure if he can do it.
A good job there to stop that early advance, but now they are there. He's going to have to be committed to that top side and DJ Champ.
And Mac Daddy's there. Pulling even out of turn 2 with KJ in tow. Looks like it's going to be down to about 8 or 9 guys as the pack started to splinter a bit there over the last couple laps, as the 92 find himself now fading out of this group. Looks like
Brian was back to trying to play both lines and come to the line for 3 laps to go.
Mentioned Monte Keller earlier, the role he could potentially play as a lapped vehicle. Currently he runs on that high side. It's 5v5, but when Voiles jumps back up it'll be 6v4, so the 028 being up on that high groove may give that 68 an advantage in trying to hold off that bottom side.
Voiles doing a good job so far, working both lines. Been making the right moves, no late blocks yet. Just got to keep it clean and might have a shot at winning this one, but there's a lot of hungry drivers behind him that want this win as well. But there's one problem, Dewey. Only one driver can win this race.
And there's about 9 of them. They're under the blanket,
contact.
And oh my gosh, how is that not a big wreck? Oh man.
Zach Rogers, some heavy contact through 1 and 2 there. A lot of smoke coming off the cars, but they kept it up at speed. We're still going here.
I think that was Steve Grant that got into him there, but somehow they kept it straight. Mac Daddy's all over the back bumper of Brian Voiles, and I think the 28 might be in a spot now coming to the white that I think he might be able to jump up top, and if he sees a run there, we'll see.
White flag, 1 to go, brought to you by Death Craver. Make sure to check it out on Amazon. Oh, we got one going around.
Up into the wall he goes. He clips the 4 of Silver Bullet, who he is going to go spinning down to the grass as well. And just as the 28 got there to mount the charge, it has come to a crashing end for Mac Daddy.
We got to race back to the line. Brian Voiles leading it. DJ Champ takes a look high. He doesn't have the help. Now Tyler Mallon going to be the inside of DJ Champ. Brian Voiles throws the block. Coming out of turn 4.
Here we go. AJ's
Tyler Mallon
pitting.
gets a bump. He's not going to be able to get there. Brian Voiles is going to win it and go back-to-back to start this season at Daytona.
What a job by the 68. We thought Mac Dowdy might have had a chance to steal it there into one, and he had a spin that looked pretty similar to that of the one Ricky J had earlier. But in the end, Mallon tried, and he tried hard, but Brian Voiles comes out on top and makes it 2 in a row to start off this year. And if there's anybody with momentum, it's definitely going to be him. What a race that was.
Go take a look at what happened there to cause that yellow. See KJ getting into the back of Mac Daddy as they go into turn one. Mac Daddy ended up 12th. You alluded to KJ pitting there. That was him taking claim for that yellow. Got to assume the gentleman thing to do from a gentleman driver.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to score him back in 14th as a result. But Mac Daddy right behind, or right in front of him in 12th. But in the end, again, Brian Voiles with a job well done, and he'll burn it down here on the front stretch for the second night in a row in that 68 machine.
See on your screen, Brian Voiles burning the rubber off that 68 Brian Voiles trucking machine. We'll get you your results here soon, as well as your interviews with your top 3 finishers tonight. All right, while we wait for our drivers to get out of their cars, get cleaned up and ready for interviews, let's get a word from our sponsor, AutoSim2.
Have you ever wanted to manage your own racing team? Or what if you could go back in time to see if a particular season could have finished differently? Well, folks, have no fear, because AutoSim2 is here. With fully customizable roster files, you can create your own world or try to recreate the past. Heck, you could even try to predict the future through AutoSim2's Sim Mode. Don't like the passive approach? Well, then get more hands-on in owner mode, where you decide who drives your cars and what companies will sponsor them. Down on your luck? Well, then scout some new talent that will get you to the top. Already super successful? Try moving up the ladder or expanding to truly solidify your racing empire. However you want to play, AutoSim2 has you covered and is now available for purchase through the Steam store for $9.99. Now go make your mark and build your legacy in AutoSim2.
And that is AutoSim2. Make sure to check it out on Steam. Great time, great game. And while you do that, we'll check in on our top 3, starting with our 3rd place finisher. 3rd place night 18 car of Tyler Mallon. Tyler, you got a copy?
I got second, but yeah, I got a copy.
Oh, you got second? Listen. I will go second first then. Tyler Mallon, 2nd place finisher. I knew that. How you doing? You got a copy?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you? Joe, and Dewey. 2 Joes.
I'm doing good. The other Joe's in a little cubby. We don't mention him right now.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, he's not real. But you had a good run there. You finished second. You had a really strong run all race. Had a lot of good drafting partners. How do you think? How would you sum up that race for you?
I would sum up that race as it couldn't have gone much better, to be honest. Kept it clean all night. Didn't really even do anything too aggressive to get to that P2. Honestly, car was so fast all night. Hope you like the new, I say new, but it's from 2003. New paint scheme that I had for this car this year. I'm just glad Brian Boyles got one. I was going to do everything I could to push him to the win this tonight if we got to 1-2, and we did at the end. So I'm so glad he got it.
Always good when you have those feel good wins in the garage, even if it ain't yourself. And like you said, a good result, second place, not the up to the standards that you had last season, but for a super speedway, you did all you can. And I think it's never something to hang your head about, a second place, especially at a track like this.
Oh no, of course not. I mean, what this is all about is just coming out, like I said last year, coming out and doing the best you can every week. And second was the best I was going to get this week. So I achieved my goal.
A good run for the 18 car of Tyler Mallon. Expect to see a lot of you here. Probably expect to speak to you a lot again this year. If there's any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank out there, now's the time to do so.
Well, first off, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. You always do such a fantastic job. Voiles Trucking for sponsoring the series, Brian and Kathy Voiles. They do so much for us. Magoo and everyone else for letting me run here, putting on a great show every single week. It's easily the most respectful group of guys I've ever raced with. So much fun to just come out here and be a part of this every week. And I think my mom was watching this race, so hi, Mom. But yeah, just glad to have fun tonight, honestly.
Well, we're glad you could have fun. We're glad we got a chance to speak to you. Once again, that's Tyler Mallon, driver of the number 18 car. Now we'll go to second place, driver of the 91 BSR DJ Champ. You got a copy?
10-4, gotcha.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? A good run today here at Daytona. You always seem to do well at these super speedways. Once again, another pole. Coming home third. How would you sum up the race? How do you think you did?
Well, it was a good race, and luckily for that last yellow, that's what saved me. Or because I think I was going to be a lap short.
Yeah, we noticed you and Brian Voiles, the winner there. You both stayed out an extra lap on the last green flag stop, and you both stayed out that extra caution lap there. What was going through your mind? What was the mind frame when you were making those calls to stay out an extra lap?
Well, because I use a tall gear, so I know what kind of mileage I can get, and so I was determining I needed to go to a certain distance to make sure I can make it to the end. And then when we got that yellow, I know I didn't have to come in and top it off like maybe some of them had to.
A little bit of pre-planning there in the setup. You always like to see that. You like to see you out here. How often can we expect to see you again this season?
Well, I'll try to make more races if possible. Some of the races I'm not that great of, like the half miles and stuff. I just don't have the talent for those tricks.
Oh, well, it's always good when we can see that Mopar out there, that 91. It looks good. Looked good tonight. Now's the time. If you have any friends, family, sponsors you want to give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
Everybody at BSR and Brian and Kathy Boyles for actually putting up these races so you guys can broadcast it.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for your time, and we thank you for going out there and putting on a good race for us tonight. I hope to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully the next super speedway race I'll have as good luck.
You only got to improve a couple positions.
Correct. All right, thanks.
Have a good night. That's third place finisher DJ Champ. Now we go to race winner, driver of the number 68 Voiles Trucking Ford Mustang, Brian Voiles. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Down in victory lane. You did it last night. You did it again tonight. What's the secret at Daytona been this week for you?
The guys behind me reckon. That's what both my victories has been.
Oh, I think it's more than that. We saw you out there working those lines. You were doing a real good break in the draft. Not a lot of people can do that well and, not wreck themselves. How much practice would you say you put into doing that?
Oh, we've been racing super speedways for years, and you just pick up a thing or two here and there. And tonight, what I picked up over the last 20 years doing this worked out perfectly for me.
That it did. Looked good with the 68 car out there. Notice y'all had some new liveries and new look this year. Kind of separated the cars for us. We appreciate that up here in the booth. So,
Yeah.
Anything big coming from Voiles Trucking this year that we need to know about?
No, not really. We just keep working on our program and get out there and do the best we can do with what we got.
That sounds like the plan, and want to give you the floor. Of course, anybody you want to thank, obviously we want to thank you for everything you do first, but any friends, family, sponsors you want to give a thanks to, now's the time.
Yeah, first of all, I got to say thank you to Miss Kathy, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. She's a big support of all of us guys over here at Bomb Squad Racing. Got to thank BSR Magoo, the guy that put all this together back years and years ago and has kept it all going for us, giving us a home to come to and for everybody to get to enjoy visiting and aggravating each other and doing something else we do, which is love racing. Thank all the guys here at BSR. Thank all the guys that come over here and race with us. Thank JTN for the broadcast. Glad that y'all are available and come and can broadcast all our Thursday night races.
Absolutely. We're glad to do it. And once again, it's great talking to you, Brian. Once again, congrats on the victory tonight. Go down there and celebrate it with everybody and all the crew.
All right, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Dewey, 70 laps at Daytona. Brian was in the 68. He comes away our winner tonight. It was a good opening round here for Bomb Squad. It's going to be a long 30-race season for us. You'll see a lot of me. You'll see a lot of Dewey. Did you enjoy tonight? You have fun?
Oh, I absolutely enjoyed tonight. It was a great welcome back, I guess, to the racing scene here on JTN. Feels like it hasn't been 2 months, but somehow it has. But what a way to kick it back off. I mean, we had bumper-to-bumper racing all night, had a couple of spectacular-looking crashes. I'm sure there weren't maybe some very happy folks at the other end of those. But all in all, Joe, though, just a great, great night. And I'm glad to be back and up and doing this again for another full year. Can't wait to see what it's got in store for us.
Absolutely. And if you at home enjoyed what you watched, you want to get a part of it, check out Bomb Squad Racing League. I believe we got their website down in the description as well. Check them out on Facebook, Bomb Squad Racing League. A lot of good drivers here. Can always use some more if you want to come and see what you can do against these guys. As always, for everyone here at JTN, for my co-host Dewey, for me, Joseph Weaver, this has been another fine JTN production, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, and they're going to be 3 wide coming to the checkered. Never mind, they're going to be... Oh! Turn 4 into the tri-oval. Whitehill is through the grass. It's going to be Noah Joyce winning his first career race in the Red Bull Cup Series.
Off right and a wrecking behind him. Good cars flying everywhere. Cars upside down. It doesn't matter. Noah Joyce has done it. He's won at Daytona in the 3 car.
Behind, they're going to be side by side again. Contact there between Sinner and Bordeaux for third.
Contact! Oakley into the wall. That's going to be Jack Healy coming to the line.
Jack Healy wins the ride in 250.